Good day. In this session, we continue looking at strategic positioning, and we look at some of the other issues involved with strategic positioning. Our objective will be to understand the ANSOFF Matrix, to understand different methods of growth, to look at global factors and how they influence strategy, and to look at the issue of benchmarking. What is the ANSOFF growth matrix? It's a very important technique which is available to us in the framing of strategy. What the technique says is that a firm has four broad options to grow, right? One of these is to continue doing what it's doing today, the same product, the same market, and in that market to try and increase penetration. The other way the firm can grow is to find some new products which satisfy the same need that it is satisfying today, right? The firm is addressing certain needs of the customer. Now, if those needs can be met by some other products which the firm can make, then that's another way in which the firm can grow. The third way is if the firm can find other needs that can be met by the products that the firm makes, right? The firm makes certain products. Now, at the moment, those products are directed towards certain kinds of needs. If the needs can be widened and if the same product can be used for other needs, right, then again that's an avenue of growth. The fourth avenue of growth is where the firm looks at new products and new needs, meeting new needs altogether. Now clearly these four are not all equally easy. The first one, where you look at improving your penetration in your present operations, is the easiest. Equally, trying to move into a new market may be more difficult than trying to satisfy your existing market, trying to broaden your existing market with more products. And certainly, the fourth option of looking at a new product and a new market altogether is the most difficult. Now, if these are put into the form of a matrix, this is what it would look like. You have existing markets, new markets, existing products, new products. Now, if it's the existing market, existing products, it's market penetration, right? If it's the existing market with new products, where you're trying to satisfy the needs of existing customers, but producing new products for them, that's product development. If you are looking at your present products, but you are looking at new needs that they can address, you're looking at new markets, then you're talking about market development. And when your product and market are both new, you're talking about diversification, right? The fourth approach, the approach of diversification, if you look at it in a little depth, this diversification could either be related or it could be unrelated. Related meaning that you are talking about products which are related to the existing products, and in unrelated you're talking about completely new areas of business. Both of these approaches have benefits as well as concerns. After all, if you look at related areas, you can share your existing expertise. Perhaps you can share your existing market channels, right? Perhaps you can use your existing production facilities. But the disadvantage is that in case you are operating in a market that is saturated or a market that is rapidly becoming saturated, then this would not be a wise thing to do. On the other hand, if you go in for unrelated diversification, you have a problem, because you really need to invent new capabilities, right? You need to invent new capabilities, you need to understand new markets. Now, you need to understand new technologies. This may be difficult, but it has the advantage that in terms of risks, it spreads risks. At the moment, your company is in a particular area of business. If there is some problem with that particular area of business, your company suffers. Here, your company is entering additionally a new area of business. Therefore, your risks are spread. It has that unrelated diversification, has that advantage. Related diversification could again be of two different types, right? You could have vertical integration, or you could have a horizontal spread. Now, we look at these in a little more detail as we go along. At the moment, what is interesting is that in India, as in other countries, you have companies which have successful companies which have used both related as well as unrelated methods of diversification. Now, take a company like the Bajaj group in Pune, right? Now, Bajaj has largely confined itself to the two-wheelers and three-wheelers, right? So, their diversification has been related diversification. Whereas, if you look at a company like ITC, right? ITC is in areas as distinct as hotels, tobacco, consumer products, paper, right? Each one of these is a totally different business area. Both the ITC as well as the Bajaj group, both are successful entities. So therefore, both these models of diversification could lead to success. The issue is only that one must be aware of the advantages and disadvantages, of the benefits as well as the concerns of each. Let's look at what an academician has to say about the ANSOFF Growth Matrix.
Now, this is where you start, ladies and gentlemen, and if there are any students of marketing watching this particular module, you'll instantly recognize it as the ANSOFF Matrix. He was the greatest strategist that we've ever had. As far as I know, he's still alive and still writing. This is a very simplified version of his matrix. And the way it works, without boring the pants off everybody, is to say you've got your present products or services in your present markets, and whether we like it or not, everybody who's watching this, that is where you live now. That's where you are now. And therefore, it strikes me that the one thing that you should be doing is exploring all of this first, rather than leaping around in the other boxes. So the first thing you would do is you would look at productivity, wouldn't you? You can actually make productivity improvements for the things you sell and the processes by which you sell them, and you can actually make a lot of extra money without doing anything fancy. The other thing is, if you were to break this down into different products for different markets, different segments, quite clearly in each of these you've got the possibility of either market growth or market share growth. And when you've said those three things, productivity, market growth or market share growth, there is nothing else that you can do in that box at all to grow your sales and profits. And that's where you start. If that is the case, and you cannot grow to the degree to which you need to grow, the next obvious thing to do is to develop new products for your existing markets, isn't it? Because that must be less risky than doing this one, and the history of commerce is replete with cases of companies who took their products into new markets and fell flat on their face.